Although they were among the most famous musicians in the world, the Beatles decided to stop touring in 1966. After years of constant travel and performing in front of massive, demanding audiences, the band grew weary of life on the road and chose instead to concentrate on their experimental work in the studio. This choice led to the creation of groundbreaking records such as Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band in 1967 and the White Album in 1968. Their final scheduled concert was held at Candlestick Park in San Francisco on August 29, 1966. Apart from a surprise rooftop performance at their Apple Corps headquarters in London on January 30, 1969, the group never performed live together again. The Get Back sessions in 1968 and 1969, which were eventually released as the album Let It Be, were originally intended to reignite their passion for live performance, an idea proposed by Paul McCartney. However, the band's breakup in 1970 brought those plans to an end. By the time McCartney, Lennon, Harrison, and Starr embarked on their individual careers, it had been years since any of them had taken the stage. Paul McCartney had already released 2 solo records, McCartney and Ram, before forming his new group, Wings, in 1971. One of his main motivations for starting the band was a desire to return to live performances as part of a collective effort. During the Beatles' final days, McCartney had suggested the idea of performing unannounced shows at local pubs, something he would later do in 2018 at the Philharmonic Pub on Hope Street. However, his fellow Beatles were not on board with the idea at the time. The original Wings lineup featured Paul's wife, Linda McCartney, drummer Denny Sewell, and guitarist Denny Laine. Their debut album Wildlife came out in 1971, and the group began touring in 1972, marking McCartney's first significant live appearances since leaving the Beatles. That 1972 tour started modestly, with performances at various UK universities in February. Eventually, they expanded the tour to larger venues across continental Europe and returned to UK theaters in 1973. Reflecting on the university tour, McCartney later shared on his official website that the experience was surprisingly bold. He explained that at the time, it didn't feel particularly daring. It was simply a matter of asking himself what else he could do. He recalled how the band drove up the M1 motorway, made an impulsive turn at Ashby de la Zouch because they liked the name, only to find there was nothing there. Eventually, they arrived at Nottingham University and realized that a university tour was the way forward. On those tours, McCartney deliberately chose not to include Beatles songs in the setlist, as he didn't want to increase the expectations or pressure. Still, the thought of returning to the stage after such a long break made him somewhat anxious. Speaking to Rolling Stone magazine in 1974, he admitted that what worried him most was the idea of facing rows of journalists scribbling notes and silently judging his performance, perhaps thinking he no longer measured up to his past self.